Riding atop U.S.-built military vehicles, Taliban fighters showcased the spoils of war during a January parade through the Afghan city of Khost. Armored personnel carriers and Humvees were just part of the arsenal that the Taliban seized from U.S.-backed Afghan government forces amid the militants' takeover of Afghanistan in August. Now, the newly equipped Taliban wants to turn its insurgent forces into a modern standing army. Wearing elite combat gear, 150 Taliban Commandos took part in a graduation ceremony on January 12th after finishing a 3-month training program.
چې اوس د هر راز پیچلو جګړهیزو عملیاتو د اجرا او د هر تهدید په محارولو کې پوره مهارت او وړتیا لرو. موږ د خپل دین وطن او مسلمان ولس قسم خوړلي دښمنان هغه که په هر نامه او په هر جامه کې وي د ختمولو لپاره یې په ډیر جرأت او میړانه اقدام کوو.
But is the Taliban capable of operating and maintaining modern military equipment?
We trained a lot of mechanics for those vehicles before we left. So I expect that they'll be able to keep those things running for quite some time.
Security expert Jonathan Schroden is with the U.S.-based Center for Naval Analyses, CNA.
I think they could establish a conventional-looking army in relatively short order. Whether that army could actually fight as a conventional-style army as opposed to fighting like guerrillas as they have for so long, that's, I think, the biggest transformation that they'll have to make.
It's not clear how much use the Taliban will be able to get out of the U.S.-made Black Hawk attack helicopters and the more sophisticated aircraft that fell into its hands. But Taliban pilots have been able to keep Russian-made Mi-17 helicopters in the air, says Schroden.
The U.S. trained quite a few mechanics for those as well, so they probably have either cajoled or coerced some amount of those individuals to continue to work on these. And they could get help from any number of Eastern European countries to get spare parts and potentially contract maintainers for those as well. So I expect they'll be able to fly the Mi-17s for quite some time.
Forming a conventional military is also part of the Taliban's effort to gain international influence and, according to its leaders, foster domestic unity.
ټول افغانستان کې د ټولو قومونو ټولو ولایتونو غواړو د ټولو کشرانو نه چې یو اردو جوړ کړو او ټول افغانان سره یو مټ کو او ټول سره یو ورونه کو او یو قوي او منظم اردو جوړ کو چې ټول نړۍ سره سیالي وکړي ان شاء الله.
If the Taliban can maintain a conventional army, it could provide some security to the region, at least in the short term.
If they can establish a viable security force that is able to maintain security in Afghanistan and prevent the likes of the Islamic State from expanding, prevent any other insurgent group from rising up and leading to something like another civil war, that in and of itself has the potential to increase security in the region. The longer-term implications, though, they could potentially become threatening to some of their neighbors. And the most obvious candidates would be Iran or even Pakistan, with whom the Taliban have had contentious relationships in the past. And there are issues like border disputes and immigration challenges.
Back at the Taliban Commando graduation ceremony, some soldiers said Afghanistan's neighbors shouldn't be overly concerned.
موږ له نړیوالو خصوصا له ګاونډیو هیوادونو سره د متقابل احترام پر بنسټ اړیکې غواړو او له دوی مو همدا تمه ده چې زموږ په داخلي چارو کې لاسوهنه ونه کړي که نه هر عمل عکس العمل لري. موږ نړیوالو ته اطمینان ورکوو چې هیڅوک به زموږ خاوره ستاسو پر ضد ونه کاروي. نړیوال دې بې ځایه تبلیغات او تشویشونه نه کوي.
Even if the Taliban struggles to maintain an army and fly its aircraft, Schroden says it could still cash in on its new military equipment to generate much-needed revenue by selling individual pieces to the highest bidder abroad.